Well, good morning, folks. Welcome back to the farm. It's still crispy outside, very crispy outside, and we're fortunate to have heat and power and everything going in the house. We could be cozy warm, but we still got to get chores done here this morning. It was interesting. So yesterday in a video I talked about how we don't heat the chicken house and we use the deep litter method, and so this year I decided, I'll keep everything a little bit drier during this first initial cold snap, because I didn't want to have any accidents within my composting process and inadvertently freeze my birds out. And every year I kind of get a little bit of flack about that. Well, why don't you add a heat source, a heat lamp, or something to make things a little bit more cozy for the birds? It seems like a bit of a sin. Well, so last night it's 45 below or something like that here. We're getting Alberta emergency alerts because rolling power outages are a potential because of high power usage and strain on the grid, and there's all kinds of arguments about why that's absolutely criminal, and we're political. You can politicize that pretty easily, but at the end of the day, this is the infrastructure we're dealing with, and that's what we have to work with. So we don't heat the chicken house. And what is a sin is if you did heat your chicken house and suddenly there was a rolling blackout, and not only was your house out of power, but your chicken house was out of power, and those birds that were cozy sitting at 14, 15 degrees or whatever you choose to keep your ambient temperature at in the house, to whatever the external temperature is, which is going to be brutal, absolutely brutal, cause thermal shock, and can easily kill your birds. Not a good time. So what we do choose to do is have a very well insulated coop, and we have an appropriate number of birds per square foot so that they can stay warm, and the wind doesn't bug them either. So we have a hatch on this side of the coop. On the leeward side, leeward is the opposite side that the prevailing wind comes from. So it usually comes from the southwest. So they're guarded from any wind, any drafts, anything like that. There's 6 inches of insulation in those walls, as well as insulation in the roof. And if for whatever reason, like yesterday, the wind decides to say, I'm going to come from this side, well, we've got that secondary chicken house, just the way it's positioned, actually acts as a wind block. And then we kept the hatch closed. When it gets to about minus 35, I usually just close the hatch and I don't even let them outside, because I don't want to be out here. I don't imagine they do either. Now, with them not being able to get outside, that means they don't have access to the water that's outside. So I got to take water inside the chicken coop. Again, I don't like to do that too terrible much, because uncontrolled water sources and humidity inside the coop, if you're not managing it very intensely, can cause you all kinds of issues with ammonia and respiratory bird health, and if you are composting, can upset your composting process. So you got to manage it really closely. So I've got some vacuum style waters here. That one was froze up, so I'm just defrosting it so I can put it in there, so they've got access to fresh water all the time. So I've got my pickup in the shop here today. The wife was working a night shift last night, so I pulled my pickup in so it'd be nice and warm today, because I gotta go get silage bales from the brother-in-law. But before the wife left to work for night shift, I said, make sure, because you're gonna be gone all night, you gotta start your truck in the morning when it's 40 some below, make sure you know where your block heater cord is. And we bought that vehicle in August, and of course in August you're not looking for the block heater cord. GM for these, they don't have, the new vehicles, they don't just come out from underneath the hood anymore. And we turned that vehicle inside out looking for that cord. Cannot find that cord. So I actually gave her the cord for my pickup. So that's why I parked in the shop, so that I could actually start this thing. But I got a real beef with GM over this. So the new cord, not only does it come with a 4-foot cord, which is, it's not good because you can't plug it into an outlet. You're not going to park up on top of your deck or anything like that. But they also have these little things like this. So it's spring loaded, so it's a bit stiff right now because it's got some dirt in it. But typically this is a two-hand operation to get this cord in there, and it is, I don't know what this measurement is, but about a foot, right? About a foot off the ground. So when it's 40 below, and you're dealing with a stiff cord, you got to get down on your hands and knees, hold this open, plug this thing in, and I just, I think the GM engineers, I get what they're trying to do there, so that if whatever you drive away with it, that cord just pulls out and you don't end up dragging an extension cord down the highway. I get that, but why here? Like what was the real estate that was just so available here? Like just what was the thought process behind putting it there and not tucking it like right here behind the headlight, or up here on the grill, or somewhere up on this front valance, maybe over here on the fender well, somewhere like that. Like the 3/4 ton GMs, they put it over here on the side of the front bumper. So if you drive away, it doesn't pull out. It does rip your extension cord out and you drive away with it. So it doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, I get that there was a bit of a thought that went into that, but I think they missed the mark on the engineering and execution piece. Anyways, I'm gonna get some water to the chickens here. I don't know, I'm gonna try the old switch up with the balaclava on the outside of the toque instead of on the inside of the toque, because if it's on the inside of the toque, it seems that the toque wants to fall off and then everything's getting cold. And if it's on the outside of the toque, it's pulling the toque down over my eyes and I can't see. So I don't know what the solution is here. I'm just trying to stay warm today. All right, a little miss here has woke up from her nap. And we're about to head off to the brother-in-law's to go pick up a couple silage bales. Thankfully, we seem to have gotten everything kind of dialed in, I think. The heaters, the thermostats, the waters, the heat tape. Nothing froze up today. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's only a midday here yet, but so the day is early. But anyways, we're gonna get over there, get some bales, and then when Carmen and Charlotte get back from their birthday party, we can get the big tractor fired up and get them out to the field. All right, we're back from the brother-in-law's. We've got our bales, and I'm getting the stink eye from somebody back there. I don't think she was too happy I dragged her away from the Paw Patrol. Were you watching the Paw Patrol? No? Were you watching Narwhals? Anyway, some show she was watching. She was pretty happy watching it anyway, so she wasn't too happy when I got her all in her bundle uppy and said, let's go to Uncle Scott's place and get some silage bales. But got unhooked from the trailer. They're just over there somewhere. Yeah, right over there. So when the other girls get back from their birthday party, I'll get the big tractor fired up and get one of them into the field anyways, and I'm just gonna put it right out way out in the middle of the field, so it's not right beside the fence where it shouldn't be. And the reason I don't want it right beside the fence is because the sheep, as they gather around that bale, are just gonna be putting a whole pile of pressure on the fence as they're jostling for a position at the feeder, essentially. So don't like that. But yeah, this whole cold snap, I was having a good chat with the brother-in-law, and I mean, yesterday the whole emergency alert thing happened and everybody was like, I don't know, whatever, it came out and it basically said like old ladies have to cook their supper in the microwave and that kind of thing. Like it was pretty alarming, I think, you know, for such an energy rich province that we live in to kind of get that stark warning come out. It definitely woke a guy up, and so he's thinking, yeah, you know what, I mean, this afternoon he's going to cut wood. He's going to cut wood because he's like, I can't rely on the natural gas system, can't rely on the electricity system. So, you know, I can cut wood and I can get a wood stove installed, and I think that's gonna be his primary, and the natural gas and electricity maybe be the backup plan. So it'll be interesting to hear from the other folks that are homesteading, whether it's on grid or off grid. I mean, we started off grid, we're now on grid, but I mean, I think there's a lot of folks definitely in this part of the world that are off grid, but they're still heavily reliant on a supply chain network. So they're off one grid, but they're still kind of maybe wirelessly attached to an umbilical cord somehow anyways, because they still need diesel or gasoline, or they still need solar batteries, and they still, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you still need to succeed at even off-grid homesteading here in northern Alberta, because it's like the environment and the climate is just so harsh at certain times, right? So the struggle is real, and so I can see why, if you can't rely on the grid, because I mean, when it fails you at the most inopportune time. We've been really fortunate. We haven't had too many upsets. We do own, I got 3 generators specifically just for that. Like, that's my contingency plan, right? We put in natural gas because never in my life have I ever heard of a natural gas outage occurring outside of a line strike incident where somebody dug a hole and accidentally broke a line. So didn't really want to rely on propane, because although that's not on grid, it's still reliant on the supply chain network. And I've seen lots of folks where the propane truck is just late or broke down or what have you anyway, so there they are dealing with that issue, or it gets to this temperature, 42 below, and what's the freezing point or the gel point of propane? Yeah, it stops flowing when it gets below minus 40. It becomes kind of notoriously unreliable. So then you've got to basically tarp it all in and put a 100-watt light bulb under there, and so then again you're just reliant on the grid and everything to kind of have your back. So we put natural gas in here, and it's worked out really well for us, but we are highly reliant on electricity. We have in-floor heating in our basements, glycol circulation system that runs on natural gas, but that pump and everything runs on power. And so even if the gas system stays live but the power is out, we're relying on, I got to get the generators fired up. And now before it becomes an issue. Oh my goodness, it is so it's so cold outside. Like, it's warmed up. I think it's only about minus 34 right now, but I feel like it is. I don't know if the humidity climbed, or well, definitely the wind picked up. That for sure is making a difference. Oh, but it feels colder than I felt this morning. Anyways, as you can tell, I'm in the tractor. I've got a round bale in the front. I penned the sheep up in the barn with a drain tree, and we're going to run this bale out across the little paddock here behind the barn, so that they're not grazing on a bale immediately adjacent to the fence. What was funny was when I told the wife, I said, "Are you good with the kids? And I'm going to head out and feed that sheep there." And she's like, "Yeah, can you do me a favor? Can you put the bale?" And I knew it right away. And I'm like, "No, let me tell you what I'm going to do first before you tell me what I have to do, because I think what I plan to do is exactly what you want me to do." And yeah, we were on the same page. Get the bale out in the field, away from the barn and away from the fence, so the sheep get some exercise and there's no pressure on the fences. Sunset, gorgeous. Alright, we can let the ladies out here, see if they go for a jaunt, see if they can even spot that bale, or if they just congregate around here. Either way, it don't matter to me. They can figure it out. They're all grown adults. Oh, wait. There we go. Come on, ladies. Come on out. I have no idea. No idea. Look, there's a treat. Go get the treat. I think one of them's got a piece of baler twine wrapped around its leg. I'm going to have to go touch that up. Can't have anybody getting tangled up. Imagine that, get yourself tied in knots a day like today when it's 30 below. Circulation's already a challenge. Certainly wouldn't want to have that. Wouldn't take long for a foot to fall off. Actually had that once before. Wasn't a baler twine. But there you go, there's your lesson. Pick up your damn twines. But actually, yeah, we had one guy's foot stuck in a feeder one time and cut the circulation off for a couple hours. And it still seemed like it was warm, so we let it go, walked on it, probably walked on it like that for, I want to say a good 3 months. And then one day come out, and it just didn't have a foot anymore. It was a whole, like, to the first knuckle, I guess, or to the first elbow. I don't even know what you'd call that. Kneecap, anyways, fell off. Like, it just fell off. So we had a 3-legged sheep for a while. That was interesting. Anyways, that's chores all done for the day. Truck's plugged in. I'm gonna go in and have supper. I'll let you go for now. Hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.